because we are going to break down something that's been vexing my spirit ever since it came out. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, download it on your favorite podcast app or subscribe to my channel where I do post other videos as well as my podcast episodes. Again, this is JTFIO, or Just Trying to Figure It Out, where we just try to figure out the things of life. You guys know that I am credentialed. I have the degrees, okay? But also I have a little bit of common sense. I'm also equitable and inclusive and Black and a woman and queer and veteran and all of these things. So we blend all of these things into a melting pot so that we are able to understand things in a different lens, okay? So this week we are discussing Pastor Reggie Steele and his wife Kelly Steele. They were over on the Dear Future Wifey podcast with Latarius Whitfield, I believe it is. And this interview took everybody by storm, took the internet by storm, because the wife, First Lady Kelly Steele, she was saying a lot of things that just was not sitting well with us, okay? I want y'all to understand that a lot of these things are not new. So I want to start there. I also want to say that although we're about to break down this interview and talk about some of the things that she said that could have been considered triggering or that were just downright wrong, I'm not here to come for them and bash them and specifically, right? Because this is true in a lot of couples. This is true in as far as the rhetoric in the church. This is true as far as the pick-me-anas and the pick-me-ishas. This is the underlying tone of what a woman is supposed to be willing to do to secure the man and the bag, okay? And I say the man because that is the popular thing in pop culture and in society that you guys are pushing for, okay? All right. So I'm going to share my screen. I haven't done that on here before, but I think I got it. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go to the very beginning of the episode. We're going to break some of these things down. Okay. Yes. Of course, we got the commercials. We're going to let that play. They might be showing that commercial because she was talking about how she wanted to lose weight because that wasn't his type. Okay.
Enemies after him. So I began to pray for him, not for my husband, but as a soul.
I'm going to fast forward this. Let me just preference this first too by saying I didn't want to show this at first because I felt like it's going to give a lot of attention to the video. And I have not watched the full interview. I watched clips on TikTok. And let me tell you, that's enough. That's enough. On TikTok, it's enough clips on there for you to put some things together. Y'all know how sometimes we say, oh, you got it out of context. You didn't get the whole story. No. We got enough of the story to understand this is how she thinks. This is how she feels. I didn't see her giving any disclaimers. I didn't see. Okay. I just want to be sure. I just want to make sure. Let me see here because I'm not seeing my video pop up. This is always the thing. Want to make sure I'm heard. Oh, it's hot, Lord. Okay. Make sure I'm heard. Yep, I'm heard. Okay. All right, y'all. Here we go.
The dates and all that. Talk about doing the podcast at your church. Yep. And today we're recording it on March the 13th. Right. And today is significant. Why? Because it is our 32nd anniversary.
Yes, 32 years today.
32 years today. We walked down the aisle.
Mm-hmm. Even though he was an hour late.
He was an hour late.
He showed up.
Pause. See. Okay. I'm trying. But this part right here, like her mentioning that to me lets me know you had a problem with that. Are you healed there? That's a part of your story. He was an hour late. Wait till you hear the reason why he was an hour late.
Reggie, you didn't come to the wedding late, did you?
But God.
No, we ain't gonna but God this. How you gonna show up at the wedding late?
I was conflicted.
Yeah.
I was conflicted. Ha. So we're laughing. Okay. Ooh. Okay.
You got to remember, she was 19. I just turned 21.
Right.
What's up, Lit Fam? This your boy, Latarius Whitfield.
I don't care to hear
show
the
up,
commercials.
and he showed up.
So you said you knew he was gonna show up.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I know my.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it there. Okay. They've been married for 30 years. Okay, they've been married for 30 years. Good for them. I'm happy that they're celebrating, this anniversary, and cool. But we have to talk about the problems of sticking it out. We have to talk about the red flags in the very beginning. We have to talk about self-worth in that conversation. This conversation is not so much about him. Okay. He showed he was raggedy in the very beginning, and you just kept accepting that. And you kept accepting that. She shares like, oh, I was used to dysfunction. This is what I saw. He shares this. I was used to dysfunction. This is what I saw growing up. Okay. But somewhere along the line, even in this 30-year marriage, there should have been a conversation to say, you know what? That was actually embarrassing. If I had to do that again, I wouldn't have done that. That's not the tone that she's speaking in. She's speaking in like, this is what it takes to make it to 30 years in a marriage. Where you have doubts on your wedding day, where you're anxious and you have stress. Well, not even that you have doubts, because you said, your man, you knew he was coming. Everybody else is like, hey, girl, where's he at? What's going on? And that was fine with you. You see what I'm saying? Like, self-love and understanding of self is, hey, come our wedding day, everyone wants to be here. No one's conflicted. Maybe you're a little nervous, right? But you're there. You're giving me the peace of mind. I'm giving you the peace of mind. That's not even something that we need to worry about. But I'm going to push forth. I'm going to push on forth. Oh, Lord have mercy. Let me see. Let me make sure I click the right thing here.
Man. I knew he was just, out late last night, the night before, and I just had no doubt.
So Reggie, take me back to that moment. You were how old? 21. So you're 21 and you had some extracurricular activities the night before, which I always think is the craziest thing that we normalize before we get married. We normalize having the strippers. We normalize saying, hey, get your last piece before you say I do. But now you're bringing that into your covenant, trying to unravel what you just did the night before you take this the most beautiful step and create a covenant with a woman, but you bringing that into it less than 24 hours prior. Why do you think that is?
I think that how sometimes wired, even as young men, you're going to have what I call human moments. Even the Bible says in Isaiah 40:30.
Uh-oh, not an echo. Well, I wonder why. You know what? It could be because, thank you for telling me, because I'll be on here talking to myself until it get posted. Somebody saying there's an echo. Let me see. Because this should be playing through my headphones now that I think of it, and that might be why there's an echo. So thank you for catching that. Yeah, let's pause right there. Okay. There is some kind of thing where we think that all of these things are okay. Okay. When you play the video, there's an echo, not when you talk. Yeah, I think it's because on my sound settings on my laptop, it's not playing through my headphones. But then if it plays through my headphones, can y'all hear it? Let me see. Let me see. System settings. Sound. Play sound through my headphones. I don't know. Let me see. Let's try again. Stay with me.
That young men would utterly fall.
Okay, let me know
So
if
let's
there's
just
an
say I was
echo.
fulfilling scripture.
Ooh, it's all the laughing for me. Let me know. Is it Asheray or Asherah 630? Can you let me know if there's an echo now?
Utterly, which means absolutely. Romans 3:23, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God.
You said you're going to take that scripture, get it tattooed on your chest, and
Oh Lord, it's still laughing for me. Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. Because I was struggling, but I appreciate you for rocking with me. Okay. So even that, right? They're doing all this laughing, and I'm trying to give a lot of understanding and justification, because they came out with another video with a doctor, like a psychologist, on a live stream, and they're talking about how this is them reflecting on the time then. They would never do these things now. These things will never be okay. They're able to laugh at themselves, but this is not funny. You're on the Dear Future Wifey podcast to show and to teach younger couples and to testify to your story of how you were able to stick it out. But we're just gonna take our time through this because I got a lot of things to say. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward through some of this because, like I said, I have not seen the full interview. A lot of this is uncomfortable to sit through. The main thing that's being said is the amount of things that this lady endured. Let's see here.
This walk of Christ and saying, hey, listen, y'all ain't got no stones to throw at me.
Right.
Because I walk freely.
Right.
And that's what I love. I want to back up. By you knowing this man was like this,
right,
what made you decide to marry him?
I thought that the title husband would change him. I did. I walked in thinking that if he was my husband and I was his wife, that a title could make you change. I learned very quickly that.
Okay. So we're gonna walk this back because I don't know where she mentions it, but she talks about, and he talks about how, when I met her, I knew that was my wife. She was not my type. I'm used to talking to and dating Hispanic women, exotic women, 125, $125, and she was sitting at 200, and she also was the wrong color. He says all this in the beginning, and she talks about how she started going to the gym and she was losing weight. Yeah, she says that. Okay, and so here she said that she thought the man was gonna change because of the title husband. Now, we're not going to sit here and act like a lot of us didn't feel that way. A lot of us never thought that, right? I was married before, and I know when I took on the title of wife, just because of my own upbringing in the church and the things that were put in me, I understood that as a wife, you're supposed to be doing this, you're supposed to be doing that. But honestly, all of those things add pressure to the relationship that don't necessarily need to be there. And then sometimes one of you internalizes those things and the other doesn't. In this case, she's showing how she took on this whole wife thing, and he was just like, yeah, I'll marry you. You giving wife material, but he's very clearly saying, I gotta get this out my system first. I gotta do all these things because I'm a pimp at the time, right? And I got other people to see. I got other things to do. Okay. Ashra says, I was so thrown how proud she was explaining their situation. It was a lot. All caps, a lot. I was just thinking maybe I'm just too modern because I couldn't marry someone who's not attracted to me. I don't think you're too modern. I think it is we learn it in kindergarten, right? I like the way she wears her hair. I like she brings colored pencils, or I like how he plays the sports. I like those things we learn in the beginning. We watch that in movies coming up. We see that, we play with Barbies. We understand perspective. We understand being attracted, right? So when they made this whole point, Latarius made this whole point, and Pastor Steele made this whole point of your preference versus your purpose. Yeah, your preference versus your purpose. Okay, so I may not find my type. I may not get with my type, but your purpose is to be my wife, so I'm going to get with you anyway. That's not insulting to you. That's not insulting to me. If my purpose is to be your wife, I want to be your preference. There's a conversation here about types. Because, most times people don't end up with their type because you understand that your type may not be for you. I don't know if that's what they were trying to say here. I don't want to give them too much. But your type could be, the long locks, tall, dark, and handsome. Or your type could be, a brown skin, locked type of woman, or long hair or curly hair or whatever. You can see someone as your type, but they may have characteristics that aren't your type. They may be lying. They may be a cheater. They may be someone who's not financially sound. So you mature in your ability to understand your type may need to change. That doesn't mean that you're not attracted to someone. So I think already right there, when she was willing to be with someone who's identifying, who's saying like, yeah, you're not my type. You're not the weight. You're not the color. You're not the what? Baby, the way I had to move, I would have had to move on. But, you know, she's able to say like, I didn't have self-love back then, and they're laughing about it. And I think if we're honest, we're all able to say that at some point, maybe we didn't have self-love. My question is, why stick it out? Why stay around and be celebrating 30 plus years when you know the pretense, the pretext of how y'all got together was not, you were not understanding your worth. And he's still knocking you down today as far as your character, laughing and saying things about you in the church, making you the butt of the joke. Okay, so it's going to circle back every time as we continue to talk about it, because this would be different if he was like, man, I used to be so horrible to my wife. No more. She is my queen. I don't do this. I don't talk like this. It could be detrimental to her self-worth. It could be detrimental to what others think about her. It could be detrimental to how my kids respond to her as their mother. He's not saying none of that. Let's keep pushing.
That titles do not make people change. And I also thought that if he would own me, I wanted to be Mrs. Steele. If he had ownership, then he would treat me accordingly. Oh, God. I had to learn that way that wasn't true either. Oh, God. And so I really, and why
not? And why not? Because for me, it's going to be the man on my right and the man on my left reacting to the things that I'm saying. And she's telling the story. First of all, problem one, let him tell his own story. All this prayer of like saving his soul and all these things. What about you? I don't know where it's at. And I don't know that we're going to get to it in here because I'm not going to be able to sit through it like just chronologically, right? I'm going to skip through and find some parts. But there's a part where she says, you know, whether we stayed together or not, I wanted God to save his soul because he was just so lost. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, and God would have God, if God gives you grace enough to iron your husband's clothes as he's going out to sleep with the side chick and hang out with the side chick and be with somebody else, he gave me grace to do that. God did not do that. God did not do that. There's no way that God would set you up to be so lost and so buried down in self-hate. Because I'd be trying in my mind to be empathetic. I'm telling y'all, before I could even get my own statement out, I'd be trying to be empathetic to what she was still feeling, what she was thinking. You're ironing the clothes of this man and you think in the Bible is telling you to do that? We got to stop telling young women this. Because where's the grace for you? Where was the grace for your weight and for your size, for your color, for your whatever in the beginning that was so wrong to him that wasn't his type? There was no grace for that. He wasn't praying to God and asking God to save your soul for all these things that quote unquote he felt was wrong. And this is directly in the Bible, and you guys are married. This is directly in there. So if you're following the word as what you're saying, why are all these contradictory things okay? You're saying that you're supposed to stay steadfast in your marriage and stay rooted in the word and pray for your husband and you know, be sold out and pray for his soul not to be lost in all these things. But then the 10 Commandments say no, like no cheating, no adultery. But you're just supposed to rock your way through that? You see what I'm saying? It's like it's cherry picking the things and choosing scriptures that go conveniently with the situation, but ignoring the other ones. And if we're going to do that, let's just like be honest that we do it. Let's just like be honest that we do it, right? Because that's the problem. That's the problem. You're saying that you thought when you got this husband that he would understand the title and change his behavior and act accordingly. There's 2 points there, right? There's like a glamorization that we have on this whole thing of marriage, where we think that everybody's going to just step to the plate and all of a sudden be mature and be all these things, and they're going to come correct, right? That's incorrect. Wife or husband, husband and husband, wife and wife, people, period. Because if you're not doing it in the gym, like they said, you're not doing it in practice, you're not going to do it when it's time to play. Okay. So that's one thing that we got to get straight. The other thing is, why be with somebody who doesn't? You understand you're getting married. You're standing up in front of all these people, all of our loved ones. We're saying, I do. We done paid all this money. And you don't think that you should at least try to pull up the way you should as a husband? Come on now. Come on. Come on. I know it ain't me. I know I ain't too ghetto. Come on. Let's go. Let's hit it.
I just knew that if we could just be united, that would make a man change, but it doesn't. And plus, I needed to change also. We were two teenagers getting married, and I was looking for fulfillment. I was wanting to fulfill a void that I was missing. Of course, that void could only be filled by Jesus.
Her as the enemy.
Right.
You know, I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna stay black and die, like she said, and chase women, smoke weed. That's where my mind was, because I've been overtaken.
Yeah.
You know, I was having fun. Even the Bible says that sin is good for a season. So I was having a phenomenal time. The last thing I wanted to be was connected to her, connected to the church.
Right.
Because then that's work.
So why did you stay? Why were you still coming home?
Because I had 2 kids. Well, then by that time we had 3. I was always a phenomenal father.
Pause. See what I'm saying? We gonna stop in the right spot. We gonna stop in the right spot. Whew. So many things here. He's quoting the scripture. If y'all seen Sinners recently and how the white man at the end, he was able to say the Lord's Prayer. He quoting the scripture. He know the scripture. Okay. The issue here is there's so many things I want to break down. Let's start with the thing that he just said. Okay. I was a phenomenal father. I didn't leave because, you know, we had 2 kids. We had 3 kids at the time. So I didn't leave because I'm going to be a good dad. How are you a good dad if you're a bad husband? How? A part of being a parent is teaching your kids the rights and the wrongs, being an example for them in times. And when you fall short of that, being able to be real and being like, hey, you know, this is not the way I would want you to do it. I messed up here. I'm making a mistake here. I'm getting this right here. How you can't do one without the other. How do you separate the two? Now, if y'all were divorced, okay. But this whole idea that I'm going to teach you how to be a good dad, but not a good husband. Make that make sense? It doesn't. Because if 1 + 1 is 2, then what the fuck is this? Come on. Come on. So she's just in there, right. No, it's not right. It's not right. You talking about how you was in this world of sin and you were just having a good time, and you know, sin is right for a season. Sin, we are all sinners all the time. But you talking about a season that you're in of just pure disobedience, immaturity. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hold on. Let me go back. I think if we really broke down, if we really broke down the amount of men who think I'm going to be a good father, I'm going to be active, I'm going to be at the plays, I'm going to be at the practices, I'm going to learn how to do my kid's hair, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to, talk to my child. And you put the correlation between that and certain topics you talk to your child about: your child's first heartbreak, your child's first love, how your child treats people, how your child talks to people, how your child respects people, what your child thinks and feels about themselves. All those things, kids and people learn by visual more than they do by verbal. A lot of times, most times. So you're going to tell me all these things, and then you're going to go and have my mom crying, laying in the bed at night, wondering where you at, ironing your clothes, and you going off. Now, they didn't discuss if they had illegitimate children, right? Because there's no way that she was smiling and happy in this time. She's happy now. She's all cleaned up. They matched in green. That's not good parenting. And I don't have no kids, but I got enough sense to know it ain't. Let's switch back. Why do I keep doing that?
A horrible husband.
Yeah, he was.
But when it came to my kids, you know what I'm saying?
And so you looked at being outside the home as a failure. But you had to stay in the household, right, no matter how you showed up as a husband, but you wasn't going to relinquish your responsibility as a father.
I would tell her all the time, I'm not going to let another. I had 2 daughters who are right now 31 and
You had 2 daughters. You had 2 daughters who are right now 31. You had two daughters that are right now 31. So do you want your daughters to accept the things that you're doing to their mother from a man? Like, come on. It's simple math. It's simple math. I'm like, it's simple math. So if we're honest, this is the truth. And this is the truth for most Black men, honestly. Yeah, don't do what I do. Don't get what I get. Don't get no man like me. But most women marry their fathers. It's a whole thing. It's a whole trope. It's a whole thing, right? So you don't think? No, of course you don't think, because you're still sitting here in your matching green and y'all still going on and on. Okay, let me fast forward, because at this point this is abuse. This is rage baiting, because it just makes me so angry. Oh Jesus, let me see. Let's fast forward.
Good.
Oh. All right, while we're waiting and my dogs are barking at some type of music or something, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I'm going to download this and post this as our podcast episode this week. Yeah, we only going to do a little bit more, because
and love you properly.
Love you properly. You'll know where he is on the weekend.
That part.
He's not missing.
Right.
So let me ask you this. We talk about there.
Yep. Purpose versus preference.
My God.
Yep.
So that's my 7th episode.
Your 7th.
My 7th episode, 5 years.
That was Revelation.
Yeah.
Because we got that.
It was May the 27th. That's interesting. May the 27th of 2020. And it was episode number 7, which is episode 107, first season. And it's called Purpose versus Preference with my friend Raquel Wesson.
My God.
And God was telling me that. He said, a lot of times we may look at people and, in dating, that's the first thing we're going to look at. This is what I prefer. I prefer a man that's this, and this height, this look, this whatever. What were y'all saying earlier?
Most women want 6-pack, 6-figure, 6 foot.
And that 666 sounds like the devil.
Oh, most women don't want that. Most women don't want that no more. Okay, I understand. And are they in touch? It's another thing. You talking about 30 years ago. So how old are they? Maybe in their 50s? Do they know what most women want? Most women not even looking for that no more. Oh, Lord have mercy.
And what about that guy that's 5'8" with a gut that'll pay your bills?
Right.
And that's what she should have got from the beginning. While you trying to chase Reggie Steele and telling this girl like, "Oh, I'm gonna get him. Girl, that's what you should have got back then. That's who you should have had back then. Maybe my mic is up too loud too.
And love you properly.
You'll know where he is on the weekend.
That part.
He's not missing.
Right.
You'll know where he is on the weekend. He's not missing. Girl, what do you tell your daughters?
So let me ask you this. We talk about you not being his preference. Was he your preference?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you like about him?
I loved his name.
His name?
Yeah. I thought Red.
Okay, guys, listen. So this is where the pick me Isha and the pick me Anna, the pick me Arbra, the pick me Lean comes in.
Reginald was such a great name, and then he just, he was the all athlete everything back then, and
he was a superstar.
See, I met his mom when I was He was. I met his mom when I was 15, getting my hair done. She gave me his number. I thought he must be ugly because she's recruiting because there's no social media. And so I didn't meet her. I never called him. So 2 years later, I saw him at the mall with my dad, who was a teacher at the same high school he went to.
Yep.
He was looking at me. I was looking at him, but my dad's there. So that went away. About 6 months later, I was at a Black Youth Conference convention.
Real quick, why was you with her daddy?
She was
I was with my dad.
You with your dad? Okay.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And so,
I knew her dad. He was a teacher at my high school.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And my dad goes, "Oh, that."
You show up as and propose. What was that like?
He just saw me.
Yeah, when I saw her, when she opened the door, I said, "Oh no, you're my wife."
Now your mom came home though at 15
and told me, as the relationship evolved, I would have other girls at my house, and my mom would call her.
Yeah, and let me know.
This other girl at the house.
Okay, guys. So when I say pick me Isha, when I say pick me Anna, a lot of people are first offended by the term. Okay. All it really means is that you are willing to do anything to get a man. Okay. Just to have a man. So as long as you're first, I think she says that in some part of this, as long as you come first, as long as he always comes home, as long as he's paying the bills, choose me, pick me, love me. Okay. I'm going to lose the weight for him. I'm going to hold down my man. His mom. Oh yeah. All these other girls, I don't want them for him. I want you because you're going to be a good wife. You're going to be a good mother. So he needs to be with you, regardless of what he's saying, regardless of what he want to do. I'm going to call you whenever somebody come over because I want you to be. So the grandma's the baby. The mama's the baby. The mama is a pick me into now. I want a daughter-in-law who's a pick me. And in the church, we encourage pick me's. It just is what it is. All women in the Bible are behind a man. Get a man, love a man, want a man, keep the man. Not many stories. Okay. And I always talk about because generationally in that time period, that's what was popular. Feminism was not a thing. Patriarchy is a thing. We have to admit that the Bible is patriarchal. Okay. And the man is at the forefront. So it's not going to say in there, woman, have self-love and self-care. Don't accept these things from a man. It's not going to say that. Polygamy was popular at the time, not monogamy. So it don't make, it's not. So her saying these things, yeah, they get me a little hot because I'm like, we have to stop telling young girls and telling ourselves, forget young girls, honey, because these young girls, they're coming up with the smarts now. They know the tea. We have to stop telling ourselves, yeah, the man is the prize. I want a man. I need a man. I got to have a man. And this is true. This is true with gay men too. It's a pick me spirit. I've seen it. Okay. And even with women, just to have a person, I got to accept all these things to the detriment of self, to the detriment of health, to the detriment of finances, to the detriment of stability, just to have a person, because that's what God said. No. Let's move on.
But don't you worry about it, Kelly.
Yep.
He the grace to do it anymore.
Right.
And something
God thing, but
I switched from due dates to due date.
Y'all, the way they got these commercials built in, you ain't even got to watch TV no more because they gonna have them on the YouTube videos.
So what made you keep coming back to her? She's not your preference.
She lived down the street.
I would always feed him.
So you saying convenience?
Very much.
Are you not embarrassed? What made you keep coming back? She lived down the street. It was convenient. I want y'all to understand this is in the 90s, sounds like, right? But this is happening right now. This is happening right now. No, it's not a thumbs up. We are doing this. We're going back to that same person, going back to our ex, going back to that person that's comfortable because it's comfortable and convenient. I know them. I know what they coming with. I know they demons. They know my demons. So it's okay. It's not okay. Medea told y'all already, you can do bad all by yourself, or you can do good all by yourself. You don't have to. You just simply don't have to. This man, and she just, I would cook for him. I would do all the cooking and the cleaning. There's some part she mentions, I think it was earlier, where a divorce would have cost money. And I'm going to tell y'all, as a witness to divorce, it does cost money. But for your own peace of mind, I'm not a parent, and I'm gonna keep saying that. I'm not a parent. But to have children and not think enough to be like, you know what? This is not the example I want for my kids. I gotta figure something out. If I gotta take a couple jobs or whatever. But it's honestly, at that time, also the church don't encourage divorce. And that's a whole nother conversation. The church feels like you married, you commit to this covenant, this commitment. You don't get no divorce. Because now, even though divorce is not in the 10 commandments, you're saying that a divorce is not going to be blessed because you're breaking apart. That's what we think, right? So you're not going to get the divorce because now you don't want to be looked at as crazy in your church house. He's saying his dad was a pastor and you doing all these things. And, the men look at it as like, oh, yeah, that's your wife. She's going to hold it down. She's going to be at the house. But you know you wrong. Women, pray for your husband. You keep coming to church. You keep fasting. You keep sowing. You keep praying. You keep doing the things. You keep raising your kids. And, you pray for your household. You cover your household in oil. You pray over your household. You pray for that man and he'll come back to you. He'll be back. He'll find the word. God is going to pick him out of that mess and bring him back to you. I'm able to say it because I've heard it. Or maybe just he's not doing what he needs to do. He was never going to do what he needs to do. There's nothing wrong with you except that you're accepting it. So move on. Move on. Move on.
30. All my other girlfriends lived 30 minutes away. She lived about 3 minutes away.
This sounds terrible. This is getting worse and worse
and worse.
But I would always feed you.
She would feed me.
He always had a meal ready.
Oh man, listen.
I said, women, you got to feed him.
And she would give me money. She worked at Lane Bryant. I'm like, this girl's a senior.
Oh, and money too, huh? Okay.
And preference. We were on a cruise probably 12 years ago.
Yep.
And we were having trouble in our marriage because she's hiring the wrong people. Then she's trying to nurture them. And I'm like, no, I believe in hiring slow and fire quick.
Right.
Because this person has become a liability to what we're doing. And the Bible says a little favor from.
What is the point of hiring a nutritionist if you...
All right, I'm gonna cut the clips out for now because I can't take it, and I don't have specific timestamps, and it's just a whole lot. Okay, it's just a whole lot. It's a whole lot. I can't. Okay. Bottom line is this, because we've been on here about 39 minutes. Let's talk through some of these other things that she said. Right. I was posting on my TikTok this week, and I think last week when I started to see it, because I want better for us. Okay. I want better for us. And I want us to understand they can tell their story and we can, be so shocked and appalled and we can say that this will never be us, but it might be us. It might be you. It might be y'all. It might be them. It might be someone one day. Right. And I would just want us to be more equipped to have enough self-love and let the self-love be the priority. I don't think anyone's saying that you don't have self-love. I think sometimes when we get in a marriage, when we get in a relationship, we want to see it through so bad that we accept a lot of things, we tolerate a lot of things because we're trying to see it through. Where do we draw the line though? At what point do we say, you know what? This ain't God. I'm steadfast and I'm doing all the things I need to do with God, but my partner is not. And, we say things about issuing ultimatums and how they're really not best practice and everything. But I think at some point you do have to issue an ultimatum where you understand like, hey, either it's going to be me or us. And I'm choosing us and you're not. You're choosing you. And that's the breaking of the covenant. That's the breaking of the commitment. It's not this whole conversation of this person keeps trying in the marriage, trying this, trying that, trying to communicate, going to therapy, talking it out, going on date nights, trying to hear you, trying to listen, trying. And you're trying. And it's not working. So now let's make a divorce. Let's have a divorce. Let's do the things. Let's seek outside resources. Let's do the things and let's get the divorce. That's not what's happening here. What's happening here is the woman is praying, is fasting, is doing all the things, right? And now is getting angry and bleaching clothes and hopping on the hoods of cars and doing all these things. And the man just don't like you. He just don't want to be there. But he knows that you're good for him. He knows that his mama said, this gonna be the one. He knows that the broccoli on the plate must get ate because it's good for you. It's gonna lead to you living long. Right? But you'd rather eat the chocolate cake first. You'd rather eat the chocolate cake over and over and over and over again. So broccoli just sits there and gets cold. Broccoli tries to add a little bit of cheese, add a little hot sauce, make itself a little bit more appealing. And it's funny because it's broccoli because they're really wearing green. And you still pushing it to the side, pushing it to the side, pushing it to the side. But ultimately, if y'all know the way health works, that health catches up to you, all them pieces of chocolate cake. So now you want to turn around and you want to be like, oh, I want what's best for me now. I want women to stop accepting that. And men too. If it's men doing it too, stop accepting that. Because there's many of women and men out here who will accept you as what's good for them already. You don't have to go through all this vetting process of doing all these different things to be good enough. You just don't. You just don't. And societally, we make it okay. In the Black church, we make it okay. Yeah, I was running around. I was doing my things. I was doing my dirt. And she was just holding me down. How many pastors do we know sit up there and say that? And the first lady sitting there with this nice hat on, just That is not cute. We got to stop in 2025. We got to stop. We got to stop. We just do. Okay. I want to know your thoughts on this now that we've broken it down and we've discussed the things, because whether it's Pastor Reggie Steele and his wife, Kelly Steele, or it's your pastor, or it's your aunt and uncle, or it's your parents, or it's you, this mentality is not new. It's not new. Okay. It's just not. And every time I feel a small inkling that I want to return to the church, because y'all know I grew up singing in a choir and, doing the solos and Don't Wait Till Midnight. And the church really developed my voice. And I was majoring in music in college and, singing in the chorale and in the choir and, really developing my relationship with God and on the praise team and doing Friday Night Live with my friends and, really getting a closeness with God. I started developing a separation from religion. So as much as I miss the church and I miss like the good feeling and seeing my friends and getting dressed up and, smiling and crying and laying before God and all these things. And, that's where the good singing's at. when all that's done, when all the announcements are done, the praise team's done, and the dancers and the if you're a new visitor, stand up and you walk around and you hug on people, and all that's done, and now it's time to get into the word. And in the word, they're blatantly telling you we're an exclusive club where other people cannot get in. We don't like people who've been divorced. We don't like tattoos. We don't like piercings. We don't like tight skirts, short skirts. We don't like sagging. We don't like the gays. We don't like lesbians. We don't like. That's that. We don't like. And then you're sitting there and you're like, but what about the love? What happened to the love? It makes you be like, why am I here again? Because I know the God that I serve. There's no way, because God is a God of order. God orders my steps. God loves me. God loves you. He loves us too much to have us suffering and be put through stuff just for the sake of being loved. And then is that how you want to be loved? I don't know. I'm just a girl, just a black girl trying to figure it out. Just trying to figure it out. Okay. My next segment, guys, is what have you guys been listening to this week? I've been listening to a lot of Cleo Soul. She has a couple songs that are really popular on TikTok. And, you know, I've kind of been moving into my little soft girl era. Come on, all Ari Lennox. Just listening to music that just kind of soothes my soul a little bit more, because I usually am very like, rah, rah, rah. And I don't get me wrong, I still do. When I be going to the gym in the mornings and on my way to work, and sometimes I be needing that. It arms me for the day. But sometimes, you know, I like to feel a little soft too. But yeah, so I've been listening to Cleo Soul and still listening to Kendall Man, still listening to Megan Thee Stallion. Recently looked to see how much them Cowboy Carter tickets were, because I'm like, ain't no way I'm gonna let this tour come and go and then we not go. But I'm also like, other things need to be paid for, Giselle. So, but it was looking affordable. It's not as much as I paid last time, and baby, I paid a lot last time. That was a gift to myself, and Renaissance will always be a love letter for me. Always a love letter. But yeah, anyway, I want to know what you guys are listening to. I want to know your thoughts on this whole Pastor Reggie Steele, First Lady Kelly Steele, Latarius Whitfield, and the Dear Future Wifey podcast. I want to know your mentality, your thoughts on just this mentality as far as being in a relationship, this whole pick me spirit, this whole take anything and everything and be a ride or die and push through, this whole celebrating 32 years, but at what cost? I want to know your thoughts. I'm begging to know what y'all think. Get down in the comments and let's talk about it. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to this podcast, wherever you're listening to this podcast. I'm Cameron, and I will see you guys in the next episode of this podcast. Bye.